To God be the glory for the things that he has done. One of the most encouraging scriptures to me states that God will never leave us, neither will he forsake us. And that's so important, especially at a time like this, because understanding that he'll never leave us or forsake us, that can almost bring you through any situation, especially during this pandemic and during this time of virus that we're facing, and then even financial crisis for those that aren't able to work and aren't getting paid at the time. It's just very important to hold on to that hope and hold on to scriptures such as that, because it's encouraging and it gives us and helps us to not only build our hope and our trust in God, but also build our faith at the same time. During a time like this, a lot of whys can have a tendency to come up. Some people might ask, why is this happening? Why are people getting sick? Where did this sickness come from? Why am I facing this financial difficulty? So many different questions can come into play when we start facing something like this. One of the biggest questions that I have experienced so far through this entire process is I hear a lot of people ask, where is God in the midst of this pandemic? Where is God in the midst of this virus going on? And going back to the scripture that we said, we know that God will never leave us, neither will he forsake us. So where is God in the midst of all this? The same place he's always been, even before all this. God is still with us. And we're reminded that he would never put more on us than that which we're able to bear. So the things that we're going through, he's already equipped us and given us the tools needed to succeed and to come out successfully. It's really encouraging when you think about it and look at that from that aspect, because we know perception and the way that we view things is so important. Because when you're facing a difficulty, if you take on a negative perception, your attitude becomes negative. But if you're facing that same thing and you're able to find words to hold on to, or the promises of God to hold on to, you're able to have a positive attitude and yet still come out victorious in the end. This thing is amazing to me, because this coronavirus has not only brought people together, but at the same time, it's also brought people to a place of prayer. And that's heart touching and heartwarming. And it's really interesting at the same time, because I believe that when we face different things in life, whether it be a financial difficulty, whether it be a sickness in our body, whatever the case may be, I believe that God is simply just trying to get our attention. And that's why he allows us to go through these things and experiences, simply for the fact that we might trust in him more, believe in him, and learn to just love him and hold on to him. I think about healing. It's difficult to know and declare that God is a healer until you've been sick and God healed you. In the same sense, it's difficult to say that God is a provider unless you've needed him to provide for you and he came through and did so. It's difficult to say that, oh, God is a way maker until he's made a way for you. And then that's how you know through that experience that God can and God will do this thing that he promised that he would do. So even in the midst of this virus, we know that God is a healer, because there are those that have been sick with the virus, but God has healed them. We know that he's a way maker, because there are those that have been out and about various places and still have yet to contract the sickness. So therefore he's made a way for us not to be sick. At the same time, we know that God is a provider, because with the way that economy is going and the fact that some people haven't been able to work and all these financial difficulties and whatnot, we still have food on our tables, clothes on our back, still living regular lifestyle. So therefore God is providing. So through this experience, we have not only learned to trust in him the more, But we've learned that he is able to do these things and able to bring us through the situations that we're facing. It's amazing because we need to learn where to put our hope and our faith and our trust, and that's in God. But at the same time, we also need to learn to love one another. And it shouldn't be just during a time of difficulty. It shouldn't take just a storm to bring us to this place. But I firmly believe that from this experience and from this storm and from this virus and everything going on, this struggle, we can learn really how to trust God more and more, not just when we're in our difficulty, but also outside of it, because we know how we are as individuals. The second we find ourselves in something, it's easy to say, God, if you bring me out of this one, I promise X, Y, and Z. But I think God is really teaching us right now that even when everything is going well, we need to learn to just trust and believe in him. And I think about the psalmist, I believe in the 13th Psalm, he asked the question, how long? How long am I going to face this? How long, Lord, am I going to deal with this? How long must I have to endure this thing? But in the end, he was able to find encouragement and put his trust and his faith back in God. So the most encouraging thing I can say right now is, even in the midst of everything around us changing, in the midst of all of this uncomfort from this virus and this situation, in the midst of all this uncertainty and all these different situations, we need to learn in the midst of this changing world to hold on to God's unchanging hand, and he will see us through.